Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into this book you sent us, actually.
True.
Subconscious Program, Unlocking the Hidden Code of Life.
Wow.
And I have to say, even just the title, it really grabs you,
Yeah,
right?
it's super intriguing for sure.
It argues that, we're all born with the knowledge we need for a successful life, all tucked away in our subconscious.
Yeah, it is a pretty compelling premise. It suggests that this knowledge is like an inner code, just kind of waiting to be unlocked.
That makes me wonder, though, if we already have it, why is life so hard?
Right.
Why can't we just tap into that wisdom, whenever we need it, you know?
Well, that's exactly what the book tries to address. It suggests that this inner code gets kind of buried under all these layers of societal programming. We're constantly being told what to buy, how to look, even how to think.
Yeah.
The author argues that all of this external noise, it kind of drowns out our own inner wisdom.
It's so true. It makes me think about all the pressure to get good grades in school.
Yeah.
It's the only measure of success.
Totally.
Is it possible that all of that programming makes it harder to actually connect with what we're truly meant to be doing?
That's a really interesting point. It actually ties into what the book argues about societal pressures, especially those tied to economic systems. They can really distract us from, what truly matters.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're trained to be, good consumers, productive workers,
Hmm.
not necessarily to explore our own unique talents and passions.
Yeah, and discover them even.
Exactly.
It's kind of like we're given this incredible computer
Yeah.
with amazing potential,
Uh-huh.
but we're constantly worrying about having the latest updates and trendy apps
Right.
instead of actually harnessing its full power.
I love that analogy. The book uses a similar metaphor.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it compares the subconscious to this powerful program that's running in the background.
Right.
But we get so caught up in these surface-level distractions that we forget about, this incredible resource we have within.
So how does the book define the subconscious, what's actually in there?
It describes it as this vast storehouse of information.
Okay.
It houses everything from our basic biological instincts to our learned social behaviors and even our personal beliefs.
Wow.
It's really a complex web of influences that shape how we see ourselves, the world around us, and how we react to different situations.
So it's like our subconscious is running this constant simulation, taking in all these inputs and generating our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
That's a great way to put it. And a key takeaway here is that while the subconscious plays a huge role in shaping who we are, we're not necessarily stuck with the programming we've received.
That's where this whole idea of unlocking the code comes in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But how do we even begin to access this hidden world within us?
Well, the book suggests that there are certain tools and techniques that can help us explore the subconscious.
Okay.
Things like psychedelics, deep meditations, even hypnosis, are presented as potential ways to delve into this inner landscape.
Whoa, hold on. Are you saying we can actually rewrite our subconscious programming?
It's not so much about rewriting as it is about becoming aware of the existing programming
Okay.
and then choosing what serves us best. Think of it more like an upgrade than a complete overhaul.
Got it. So it's not about erasing everything and starting from scratch, but more about becoming conscious of the program that are running
Yeah,
and then making informed choices about which ones to keep update or maybe even delete.
exactly. And the book actually highlights a really interesting phenomenon. During psychedelic experiences, people often report this sense of already possessing the knowledge they're seeking.
That's fascinating. Maybe the knowledge isn't about specific facts or skills, but more about some underlying wisdom or intuition that we already have access to.
That's right. It might be less about learning something new and more about remembering something we already know deep down, almost like rediscovering a part of ourselves that's been hidden or forgotten.
So it's like we have this inner GPS guiding us towards our true potential, but we're so focused on all the external noise that we're not paying attention to the directions.
That's a great way to put it. The real challenge is learning to listen to that inner voice and clearing out all that mental clutter that's blocking our signal.
So you're saying we already have the map within us,
Uh-huh.
but we need to learn how to read it and trust its guidance.
Precisely. And that's where those techniques the book mentions, meditation, self-reflection, even therapy can come in handy.
So it's not about acquiring some external knowledge, but more about developing a deeper understanding of ourselves.
Exactly. It's about cultivating self-awareness and using specific tools to help us tap into that innate wisdom that's always been there.
This is getting really fascinating, and there's so much more to explore in this book. Let's dive deeper into these tools and techniques and see what they can reveal about unlocking our hidden potential.
I'm excited to keep going.
Me too. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. It's interesting to think about how these ideas connect to ancient wisdom traditions.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of cultures have emphasized looking inward,
Right.
connecting with a deeper level of awareness
Totally. Think about like shamanic practices
Exact.
or meditation in Buddhism and Hinduism.
It's fascinating how they've been talking about this for centuries,
Yeah.
tapping into inner wisdom.
It's like modern society has lost touch with that part of ourselves.
It's a really interesting question. And what's cool is that modern science is actually starting to validate some of these ancient practices.
Really?
Yeah, like neuroscience is shedding light on the power of the subconscious mind.
Can you give us an example? I'm not super familiar with neuroscience.
Sure. Take the concept of neuroplasticity. It refers to the brain's ability to change and adapt throughout our lives.
So our brains aren't fixed after a certain age.
Exactly. Researchers used to think that. But now we know it's not true at all. Our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our experiences.
So even if we've been conditioned in certain ways by our upbringing or society,
Right.
we're not stuck with those patterns forever.
Exactly. There was a study that really highlights this. It's called the London Taxi Driver Study.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, researchers found that London taxi drivers, they have to memorize super complex spatial information to navigate the city.
Oh, yeah, to get that license.
Right, and they actually develop larger hippocampi, which is the area of the brain responsible for spatial memory.
So their brains literally change
Yeah,
in response to like the demands of their job?
it's incredible, right?
Wow. So our experiences really shape our brains.
That's right. In the book we're discussing subconscious programs. It argues that our upbringing and the economic system we live in are major factors in shaping our subconscious beliefs.
Hold on. How does the economic system play into all of this?
Well, think about the messages we're bombarded with from a young age. We're taught to value material possessions, social status, financial success.
Right.
There's this constant pressure to consume more, achieve more, be more productive.
Yeah, always be hustling.
Exactly. And while there's nothing wrong with those things, in moderation,
Yeah.
the book argues that this intense focus on external achievement, it can distract us from cultivating our inner world
Hmm.
and connecting with our true self.
It's easy to get caught up in that cycle of wanting more,
Yeah,
always striving for the next goal, and never really feeling satisfied.
it's a trap for sure.
Could that be part of what's blocking us from like tapping into our inner wisdom?
It's definitely a possibility. The book suggests that it's not about like demonizing ambition
Right.
or rejecting the economic system altogether.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about becoming aware of how those external pressures might be shaping our subconscious beliefs.
And limiting our
Oh,
potential.
exactly.
So it's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Acknowledging the external influences,
Right.
but not letting them like dictate who we are or what we're capable of.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming our power, making conscious choices about what we truly value. The book emphasizes becoming aware of those subconscious programs that are running in the background and then choosing to upgrade or delete the ones that no longer serve us.
That makes sense. But how do we actually do that?
Right.
Like, how do we sort through all of that?
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming, for sure.
Where do we even begin?
That's where the book's toolkit comes in. It suggests a variety of practices that can help us explore our inner world and reconnect with our intuition,
Okay.
things like meditation, journaling, even creative expression.
Those sound a lot less intense than psychedelics and hypnosis.
Right.
But can something like meditation really impact our subconscious programming?
You'd be surprised by the power of simple practices. Meditation, for example. It can help us cultivate stillness and awareness,
Hmm.
allowing us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment.
Okay.
And this can create space for our intuition to emerge and for us to start recognizing those subconscious patterns that might be holding us back.
So it's about quieting the external noise so we can actually hear that inner voice.
Precisely. And by practicing these techniques regularly, we can start to reprogram our subconscious mind, replacing limiting beliefs with more empowering ones.
So we can change those beliefs.
Yeah, it's like weeding a garden.
I like that.
You have to consistently pull out the weeds to create space for the flowers to bloom.
But some of those beliefs feel so ingrained.
Yeah.
Like they're part of who we are.
I know what you mean.
Is it really possible to change them?
That's where epigenetics comes in. It's a fascinating field of study that explores how our environment and experiences can actually change how our genes express themselves.
Wait, are you saying that our experiences can change how our genes function?
That's right. It's a relatively new field. But the implications are huge. It means we have a lot more agency than we think when it comes to shaping who we are and how our genes are expressed.
This is starting to feel less like a deep dive
Huh.
and more like a deep climb, like we're scaling this mountain of potential within ourselves.
I love that analogy. And just like climbing a mountain, it takes effort and perseverance. But the view from the top, that sense of self-awareness and connection with your inner wisdom, it's definitely worth the journey.
Okay, so we've talked about meditation and epigenetic, but the book also mentions some other tools for unlocking our hidden code,
Yes.
including psychedelics.
Right.
I'm curious to hear more about those.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe that's a conversation for after a quick break.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're back, and before the break, we were talking about like neuroplasticity and epigenetics.
Right?
It's amazing that we can reshape our brains and influence our genes.
Yeah, it's pretty credible.
But I'm really curious to hear more about psychedelics as a tool for accessing the subconscious.
Yeah, psychedelics definitely spark a lot of curiosity
Yeah,
and debate.
for sure.
It's important to approach this topic with caution,
Let's
They're not
craze.
for everyone.
Right.
Psychedelics can be powerful for exploring the subconscious, but they need to be used responsibly.
And probably with proper guidance. I've
Absolutely.
heard stories about people having like profound life-changing experiences on psychedelics.
Yeah.
How do they actually work in relation to the subconscious?
Well, think back to what we were discussing about societal programming
Yeah.
and those ingrained beliefs that might be holding us back.
Mm-hmm.
The book suggests that psychedelics can help temporarily break down those rigid thought patterns and beliefs.
So it's like they create a crack in the foundation of our usual way of thinking.
That's a great way to put it. They create like a window into a different way of perceiving reality,
Hmm.
which can lead to profound insights and shifts in perspective.
I see.
Some researchers believe that psychedelics might temporarily disrupt the default mode network in the brain.
What is that?
It's the network associated with our sense of self and our usual thought patterns.
So if the default mode network is like our autopilot,
Uh-huh.
maybe psychedelics help us take manual control for a bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
By disrupting those habitual patterns, psychedelics might allow us to access deeper levels of awareness
Okay.
and connect with our subconscious in a way that's not normally possible.
But psychedelics aren't a magic bullet, right?
Definitely not.
The real work happens after the experience.
Absolutely. The insights and experiences from a psychedelic journey, they need to be integrated into everyday life. It's
Right.
about taking those lessons and applying them to your relationships, your work, your whole way of being.
It's like the psychedelic experience might give you the map,
Yeah,
but you still have to navigate the terrain
exactly.
and make choices about the path you take.
Right, you have agency.
And there are many paths of self-discovery.
Absolutely. Psychedelics might be one tool,
Yeah.
but they're not the only one.
The book also talks about meditation, self-reflection therapy,
Those are all great tools.
as ways to explore the subconscious.
Yeah, and don't underestimate the power of creativity.
Oh, yeah.
Things like writing, painting, music, dance.
Mm-hmm.
Those could be incredibly powerful ways to tap into your subconscious.
It's so interesting to think back to the book's main claim
Yeah,
that we already have all the knowledge we need for a successful life.
right.
It seemed like a bold statement at first.
Yeah.
But now I'm starting to see how it might be true.
It's not about acquiring new information,
Yeah.
but remembering what we already know deep down.
Yeah. It's like uncovering this hidden wisdom.
Exactly.
There's just been such an insightful conversation.
It's been a pleasure.
I feel like I have this whole new perspective on the power of the subconscious
I'm glad to hear that.
and the potential it holds.
Remember, the journey of self-discovery is ongoing. There's always more to learn and explore.
True.
The most important thing is to approach it with curiosity, compassion, and an open mind.
Well said. Thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive.
Of course, it's been fun.
And to you, our listener, we hope this has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to unlock your own hidden code. Until next time, keep diving deep.